Hi.
Wow.
We're doing
It's
it.
happening.
Hi.
Hi. We're here. We're live. We're doing it.
We're here live. We're going to answer your questions.
Yeah.
We have some questions that we've already polled. If you type questions into chat, we'll also find them and answer them.
Pull that up right now.
We make no promises of the amount of chaos. And thus we begin.
So good. Okay, hold
can
on.
I-
Pulling this up. Oh God, that's us. Okay. Yeah, you want to go? Oh, we have things to say. We have things that we have to say first. Do you want to cover?
Who are you?
Oh shit!
Introduce yourselves. What are we doing here? Who are you? Are we only
You go
gonna talk about
first.
Beauty rivalry? What's going on?
Hi. Hi, I'm Spencer Stark. I'm one of the game designers at Darrington Press.
She's lying. I'm Spencer Stark, and I'm one of the game designers at
You
Darrington
can't
Press.
prove it.
This is Rowan Hall. She's one of the other game designers at Darrington Press. We're both devs on Daggerheart. Behind the camera, we have a Sam and we have a Brooke. Say hello, hello, hello. We're all just hanging out in the office today. But we have things to read for you at the top. Do you want to?
Guys, we have very special things we need to read, but we don't want to reveal any secrets, so we do quickly have to consult the official information. So
we have secrets we can't say.
we finally do get to say
Yes.
that Darrington Press is participating in Free RPG Day.
Woo!
We're so excited. It is on June 27th at all participating friendly local game stores. We released The Dying Spire, which some folks who played at Gen Con might be familiar with, a version of it. It's a tier 2 adventure for Daggerheart. It has standees, it has handouts, it has ways for GMs to ask and incorporate answers.
Yeah.
It has Daggerheart guidance. It's got cool art from Sean.
Yeah.
Am I missing anything?
No. If you played it at Gen Con, there's also been like adjustments and things. So thank you to everybody who at Gen Con helped us to hone it in, because that was a fun little it didn't exist anywhere except for those of you who were there. So
And the cool thing is, if you played the Sablewood Messengers, our quick start
Yes.
guide, you can just continue your adventure by going right into the Dying Spire.
And if you haven't played Sablewood Messengers, there is a section of the adventure that says, you didn't play Sablewood Messengers? Here's how you would jump into Dying Spire as its own sort of contained adventure. So either way, you're set up.
So no pressure.
No pressure. Is that all? Is that all of our announcements?
I think that's all for right now.
Okay, cool.
I can't promise that there won't be additional announcements.
I love it.
If our marketing manager Darcy texts me in a panic, it's because
yes,
something.
absolutely. We have some exciting stuff coming, but we can't talk about that quite yet. But stay tuned, because there is more on the way.
Someone's running a modified version of the Sablewood Messengers tonight.
Oh yeah,
That's very cool of
very
you.
cool.
Also, some people
I do
in
love
chat
Sablewood Messengers.
confirmed that there are multiple Spencer Starks, and therefore I win. Thank you, chat.
We as Legion, yes,
Collectively.
we are Spencer Stark.
I'm Spencer Stark.
Do we want to grab some of those questions? Yeah, perfect.
Mhm.
Someone asked, Worlds for All asked, how do you resource manage fear during combat? I always start with lots and run out fast.
You're actually really good at this, so I think you should answer.
Well, I think that learning to use fear both in and out of combat is one of the things that really comes with experience in Daggerheart.
Mhm.
And fear is a really fun, hi friends, a really fun economy to be able to play with as a GM, because it lets you press on the gas or let off the gas as much as you want, as much as you feel is right in that moment. I would say during combat, what I would look for is opportunities where it feels like you need to raise the stakes for the players. And I usually try and come out swinging. So I usually try and come out with like a big fear dump near the beginning if I have a bunch of fear already. If you are entering combat with lots of fear and ending it with none, I think that's actually kind of an ideal scenario, because you're going to build up fear over the course of the next couple of scenes in between when you do your battle and then you do your next battle. And fear is, I think, more difficult for players coming in to know how to spend it outside of combat. Inside of combat, it's pretty
There were some
straightforward.
folks who were asking about spending fear outside of combat.
Yeah, and I think that that's one of the big things that you have to like practice, and that you have to lean on the guidance of the book for, and that it's just not as clear cut, I think. But I think it does also encourage you to come into combat with a good amount of fear and exit combat having spent a whole bunch of that fear.
I also feel like people ask me a lot when I'm chatting with them in person, like what happens if the players have a bunch of hope and I don't have a lot of fear, or vice versa? What happens if I have a ton of fear and they have
I have a
none
ton of
hope?
fear all the
Oh, yeah,
time.
we all have a ton of fear
Okay.
in our hearts all the
I
time.
can't help you on that front because I'm in the same boat. But specifically, I think some GMs get worried when they have very little fear and the players have a lot of hope. And usually I say, like, sometimes the chips are down and sometimes the chips are up for the players. And I think usually the antidote to that is actually playing more sessions, because then you will get to experience the times
It's a
where the
great call.
dice are on fire for the PCs and they get to come in and crush. And it's so fun. And sometimes it feels good to just absolutely
Wreck
annihilate,
house, yeah.
sweep through a bunch of bad guys. And then they will also have the experience where you're getting all the fear and they are sweating it.
Yeah.
So
I think one of the other really important things about fear that is important to instill
in
at the
real life,
table
or
in the game, not in real life, uh, is that fear is a means of the story moving forward in an exciting way. I think that if the approach is that it is something that is bad for the players, oftentimes it's bad in some respect. It increases the tension for the characters and therefore the players. But I think if we're coming at it as a collaborative story game, knowing that fear is the currency by which things become more intense and therefore hopefully more exciting in our storytelling, like
Yeah.
if we approach it that way. Somebody else said too that one thing that they've done that's helped their table to navigate, if you're coming from a game where it's pass or fail, and you're not used to sort of a
Oh,
PBTA or
good
Fortune in the Dark
point.
kind of approach to like a mixed success, or Genesis has this as well, sort of this like mixed success feeling. If you aren't quite uh, used to that yet, the best way that you can, or one of the better ways to maybe position with your table how this works, is that you guys go, then I go, you guys go, then I go, except if you roll with hope or roll a critical. If you roll with hope or roll a critical success, then you guys get to keep the spotlight, and you get to keep going until you roll with fear or roll a failure. But by placing the like expectation around it's going to be back and forth, there's not a as much of a loss of like, oh man, now the GM is going to go and they're going to do some stuff. It's like, no, we're equal in the storytelling opportunities here, and if that's where you come in from, maybe that's an easier way to swallow it.
I love that flip. I think
Yeah.
since I don't remember who said it to
I
us,
don't
but
remember either.
it might have even been the
Might
Reddit.
have even been
Shout
the
out to the
Reddit,
Reddit
yeah.
if
Uh-huh.
it was. But I've been using it to explain it to folks a lot because it frames it in the positive in a really beautiful way.
Yeah, I think if you're coming from a more traditional or more like binary pass
Mm.
fail system, it can feel strange to like not know when somebody is going to go. So knowing that's kind of the expectation, unless something else happens, helps, I think, people to maybe ground into the way the system is designed to work. And that is kind of the way it's designed to work. It's designed to pass all around the table, back and forth, from the GM to the players and back to the GM, and like all of us are building this together.
D&D IPG asked, how do you keep consequences interesting without it becoming a burden to the GM? And I think one of the things that we talk about a lot is actually making sure, especially on successes with fear, to allow people to succeed at what they were trying to do,
Yeah.
and then making the kind of outside world consequences really fun and juicy. So like if the player is trying to sneak up a wall onto a roof without being seen by the guards, or rather to pursue someone, then if they succeed with fear, let them get up the gosh darn roof,
Right.
and make the consequences something outside of the scope of that task they were trying to do something fun. So maybe the guards don't see them on that roof, but as they get to the top, they hear the sound of people approaching on the building behind them. So you're adding another element to play, but you're not subverting their success.
Yeah. I think creating interesting consequences is one of the core pieces of learning to tell exciting stories. What I mean by that is that like in any storytelling centric medium, whether that's books or movies or tabletop role playing games or anything, the question is usually, how do I create interesting setbacks before my character gets what they want?
Mm-hmm.
Like if a character wants a thing and they set out to get that thing and then they immediately get that thing, it's not really a story, right? It's not an exciting story anyways. It's a story, I guess. But
People think that they want it easily, but that's not true.
right, the way that we are used to and come at stories as a culture is like, what is in our way?
Hmm.
And how do we tackle facing those challenges in a way that is entertaining?
Yeah.
Right, like that is kind of the core. And so when we're asking that question, I think it's such a good question because it gets to the heart of storytelling.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things I would say, and we talked about this before, but if you're feeling stuck on that, feeling stuck on like, what kind of consequence can I do? I need sort of some ideas behind that so that I can, come to my session and feel like I'm ready. Go watch any TV
I was
show.
just gonna say,
Mhm.
we've been watching She-Ra and doing this.
Go watch any TV show. If it's in the fantasy genre, it might be easier to translate, but literally any TV show will do.
She-Ra.
Any great TV show. She-Ra's a great
Blue-Eyed
one.
Samurai.
Blue-Eyed Samurai we did. Dragon Prince I've done. But you watch it and you just go like, what happened? Like somebody tries to do something. What result is this? Is this a success with fear? Did they get what they want, but there's some kind of consequence to what happened? Is it a failure but with hope? They didn't do it, but it isn't as bad as it could have been. Did they fail with fear here? Was this a critical success? And then out of that, you'll go like, oh, I see. They got up the side of the building, successfully. But when they got to the top, there were two guards looking at them right in the face, and they're like, whoa! And they like fall back and are now holding on to the window ledge with one hand. It's probably a success with some kind of fear, right?
Someone just said, Desabla Charon 7951 said the amount of shows I'm watching and go like, oh, this is a success with fear.
You'll see it everywhere now. Now that you know, you'll see it all over. And I think that it's really a nice way to be able to understand storytelling from the inside out and then use that and apply that to your game. So try it. If you're struggling, go try it with something and see if that helps.
A bunch of folks in chat are asking for spoilers on what's coming out in Hope and Fear. So like equipment that we're releasing and other things that might be found in the book. And I think we gotta keep secret.
Yeah, we made a big announcement at
We'll do the bad guys. Yeah, you can't say anything or I will get fired.
How about you just push mute and we'll keep talking about it as if it's like as if everyone can hear us. Don't do it. We'll be like watermelon. But
yeah, you'll know more soon. Also, there was a comment. Inside of everyone are two Spencer Starks. I certainly hope not. That would be a nightmare for everybody involved.
I know the Spencers that sit on my shoulders.
Yes, they please.
I want to be
for
the
the love
little
of
devil
God.
Spencer.
Actually,
Okay, can I totally derail us with something stupid that's been in my head? So
Please.
that's me. Okay, so I was like, what like icon or like team name would Darrington have? Like the Beacon Bits or Critters? And obviously like Dodie is right there because Dodie's a cute little bean. But I was like, what if it's like the Daredevils, but it's like Darrington?
Yeah.
And purple's one of our like primary Daggerheart colors, so the little like purple devil emoji. So I want to be the Spencer Stark little devil,
the Daredevil,
the Darrington.
the Darrington.
Unfortunately, I will be photoshopping every thumbnail from now until forever.
Good.
My beautiful friends, while we're derailed, where are you pulling these questions from? Yeah.
Such a good question. The chat that's happening right now live for real, and also the document that Brooke, who's behind the camera, made.
And those questions are from the Darrington Press Instagram, where sometimes we have question boxes so that you can ask the devs your burning questions.
Woo!
I love you guys.
Thank you, Brooke.
Brooke's the best. Someone said, Dare Devs.
The Daredevils. Oh my God.
Ooh.
Another level. Okay.
Tales of Exandria, you just made me fucking insufferable.
My Tales of Exandria
Hi.
Hi.
Someone asked, when should we use rogue and when should we use assassin? I know you had said you wanted to talk about that.
Okay.
The computer is away.
I feel like people have really strong opinions about this, especially because it's one of our first classes that's coming out that kind of fits an in-between space,
Mhm.
like kind of a little niche of the pie instead of going out in its fully own big
Like having
space.
another domain? Is that
Yes,
what you
like I
mean?
think
Yeah,
the
yeah,
witch
yeah.
and the warlock are kind of out over here
Yeah.
more because they have their own new domain. And I think the brawler also is in an in-between space, but people kind of are like, if fists brawler, if
Right.
sword warrior
Yeah, yeah.
to an extent,
Yeah,
or
yeah,
like
or guardian, yeah.
if protect friend guardian,
Right.
if punch still brawler. But I think the rogue and the assassin are really exciting to me because they do have a lot of overlap, but I think you can kind of look at what you are excited about the trope of sneaky stabby. And I think rogue is like sneaky stabby, a little social
Magic,
manipulation, a little
social, yeah.
magic, a little more sparkly. And I think assassin is sneaky stabby, it's me and my blade until the very end. And I
Yeah.
also think assassin is like, is my profession murder? Like, am I most kill?
Right.
Or rogue is like, is my profession sneak or steal?
Yeah. Well, the assassin, has the ability to do a lot of damage in like their first hit. And I think that there's an interesting thing of like when, you're like, I am honed to murder. I'm honed to attack. And so like I'm gonna sneak out and I'm gonna do a huge hit.
Mhm.
And then I'm gonna support my friends as well on top of that, where the rogue has a little more variability in the way that it functions.
Well,
It's like sneaky and like can, it's like small stabs where assassin is big stab.
small stabs versus big
Yeah, yeah,
stab.
yeah.
I always call classes career day. It's like if all of the adults in the fantasy world came into kindergarten and
Yeah.
were like, "Hi, kids. Do you want to be someone who goes to school and learns magic? You should be a wizard. Do you want to be a murderer? You should be an assassin." Like,
Also, we're reporting you to the police. No, just kidding. This is a safe way to do murder. This is
Yeah, yeah.
in Daggerheart, no one gets reported for murder.
In Daggerheart, we endorse murder. Not actually.
But I do think that like understanding um the domains that already exist inside of Daggerheart, the things that lie between them oftentimes will sit in a space that is a little more nuanced than the current classes that are out because they're sharing a little bit from one class and a little bit from another class, right?
Someone had a
What's up?
really good
What'd they
answer.
say?
It's Disabla Charon 7951 again. Crushing it. They said, I was just thinking about this exact topic. My take on it is when a rogue interacts with someone they don't like, they smile. An assassin looks at you dead serious.
I love that.
What if actually the two devils on our shoulder are rogue and assassin? What do we got? What do we got in your
Yeah. How do
questions
you
list?
start getting involved as a GM for Daggerheart? I'd love to play more. I think that one of the big things that usually is a hurdle to a game getting spun up is the
Mm,
GM. And so if you want to get involved as a GM, I think the big thing is just to find your players.
yeah.
And don't have to be people that have played role playing games before.
You
We
could go to your
play
friendly local game store.
go to friendly local game store. I've also played these kinds of games with people who have never played before, and sometimes that's the most fun. And also, I think some advice for coming in new um, is watching actual plays of the kinds of games that this game is also descended from. That it has DNA from, because even if it's not this game in specific, you'll see the way that like GM moves are made. You'll see
Mhm.
the way that uh, there are consequences even when you succeed. You'll see the collaborative world building. I think of things like Friends at the Table or,
Evantress.
Evantris. And so watching Daggerheart or Daggerheart adjacent things. will give you a sense of how the game is designed to flow. I think the one hang up some people have if they're coming in from D&D or Pathfinder is initiative. And so if you're not sure how the game is supposed to be run without that, there are so many awesome examples uh, of games where that isn't a thing either.
And also remember that even in D&D and Pathfinder, you play with initiative without initiative all the time
Yeah.
until you get into combat. But
Right.
everybody plays without initiative in social settings
All the time.
all the time, and
Just nothing
people
different.
do a really wonderful, beautiful job with that. I
Yeah.
also like to remind people we did a GM workshop at MagFest, Elise and I, and one of the things that I kind of talked about is, you have to remember that ultimately it's a bunch of people who very often are your friends, but have all agreed to sit down and play a game. And as the GM, it is totally okay to make a mistake. And it is okay
Yeah.
to be like, oops, I was reading the wrong stat. Actually, that hit. Or, oh my God, I told you no, but actually, what if the answer is yes? What if we change this? Or at the end of the session, go, guys, we ended up in a place. Maybe let's like roll it back a little. Like there's so many different ways that we can go back to the core of it, which is play.
Mhm.
And I think watching actual plays is the best and it's wonderful entertainment, but often you don't see those moments because
Because they're cut.
they're cut.
Sometimes, yeah.
One, because they're they have a time limit. Those things aren't like the fast, snappy, like juicy moments, or because everybody does that as their career.
Yeah.
Or you see them and you don't remember.
Yeah.
Because they're not, again, the juicy moments. So I would just say jump in with both feet and just, fuck it up, Buttercup.
Something else I would say too, and this actually comes back to the topic that you had up. Can you pull that up again?
Oop.
The how do you keep consequences interesting? To touch on both of those with this question as well. Uh, don't be afraid to turn specific moments back towards your players.
Oh, yes.
You don't have to do it all the time. And I think there's a misconception. We call it the treasure chest problem. There's a misconception about like
The
what
Stranahan.
collaborative world building or collaborative role playing is like. And I think you should do whatever works for your table. But the encouragement from Daggerheart and I think from us for most tables that are operating at normal, playing a normal role playing game kind of thing is the treasure chest problem is people ask, well, what happens if I
Pause.
yes.
Someone said you're hard to hear. So,
Oh, okay.
so talk like you mean it.
Got it.
But keep going.
So the treasure chest problem is like we'll have people that ask us like, as a GM, I have a treasure chest, and if I open it and say to the players, what do you find inside? Then how do I control from them just saying like, I find the most powerful sword in the world? And I think oftentimes collaborative world building is about finding the right questions.
Leading questions.
And that for me is not unless I'm playing with a group where our whole thing is like we have a social contract where we are doing that. That's not the area that I would be asking the questions, right? The questions, using Dying Spire as an example because it's coming out. There's a part in there where you ask the players as the GM. Those of you who played at Gen Con know, you ask the players as the GM, hey, you see this little creature in the cave that you're in. And it's like drinking up the sort of splotches of black ichor that have been left behind. What strange hybrid creature is this little thing that you find? And some people are like, it's a snail meets a rat, or they're like, it's a squirrel meets a bat, or whatever, right? They come up with whatever that is. And in that adventure, it tells you to write down what it is that they told you. And then in the fight later on, you bring back a bigger, scarier, more deadly version of that creature that's being controlled by the big bad. And so like that's asking a question and then building on the answer. That's being collaborative because your player might say it's a caterpillar, but it has it has the spines of a porcupine, and you're like, cool, that sounds cool. Then I describe those things later on as that, and they're like, oh my god, I made that.
Who's
right?
that Pokemon?
And so thinking about what are the right questions, not that there are like correct questions objectively, but subjectively for my table. What are the right questions for me to ask my players? What are they interested in? Do I ask them stuff about their backstory, about the place that they come
Mhm.
from, and incorporate that into the campaign? Do I give over the reins in the moment to say, like, during during a failure with hope, you say, like, what is it that you're not going to succeed here? What stops you? What keeps you from succeeding at this thing? And they'll come up with stuff that you never could have imagined. They're going to put
Mm.
themselves in a way worse space than you ever did,
I'm gonna
truthfully.
move us on to another question
Sounds
so
great.
we can keep this moving. And keep. I think this is a good jump off of what you were saying
Yeah,
because it's how do you keep consequences
that's
interesting?
that's what we just did, I think.
Oh, sorry,
Yeah,
sorry, sorry. I'm looking in the wrong
we did that
place. Nope, nope,
already.
nope. I lost my spot. Oh, I think this is kind of like up the same alley of like how do you guide the story?
Okay.
And people are asking us, how do you run investigation scenes in
Mm,
Daggerheart? And I
we should
think
talk about
this is
that.
something that
Yeah,
we've talked about a lot.
yeah, yeah.
Um, because it investigation scenes seem like they're the antithesis to what you're saying of like you
Right.
don't want to empower the players and allow them to make decisions because you have these important clues and things that you have to pass along this information, and it feels like you have to hold on really tightly, or you don't want to railroad them, and so you run the risk of like holding on too loosely. And so one of the things that Spencer and I talk a lot about are making reveals, which if anyone has also played Candela, you'll see that tech in there.
Yeah.
But if you when you're running Daggerheart generally, I think it's a good idea to think that you should prepare rather than plan. And when you're really well prepared, you give yourself kind of the information that you need and the flexibility to be able to pivot with the players. And if you're prepared for an investigation, you should have theoretically the information that you know you need to reveal and then places that you can reveal it so that when the players go to look for it, you can put it there. So I think the example that we often use is like we're trying to direct the players to discovering where the bad guy is hiding out. Let's say they kind of know who it is, they're on their trail. You could put that information hidden, on a piece of paper that was hidden under a secret floorboard. If they start pulling up the floorboards, you could give that information to an NPC that they might talk to and interrogate. You could stick it in a secret room in a journal if they start pulling, the books out of the wizard's bookcase.
Right. If the reveal is uh the bad guy is in the wizard's tower.
Mhm.
You're like, cool. I have that piece of information. I need to figure out how to reveal it. As the players go search for things, they can find it anywhere.
Mhm.
And it's about figuring out where it is that's interesting for them to find it via the way that via what they're searching for, right? And you can place it in the trick, the skill is learning how to place it in many possible places, but then having that ultimately manifest as the player searching and succeeding at a thing and finding the information. But if they don't succeed at that thing, it doesn't mean that the investigation stalls. That's
Right.
the biggest like worry that I think I and a lot of people have about investigations is like if I put the information behind a role, the information they need to be able to move the story forward behind a role, and they fail that role, should they be making that role?
Mhm. Mhm.
Right? And so I think knowing it can be in a bunch of places and giving them that information in the place that they succeed at is one way that you could do that.
We also talk a lot about allowing players to be as smart as they are because sometimes an investigation or a mystery or a puzzle is actually in some ways for the players to figure out first and foremost, and then the characters get to act on that. That's kind of where you hit that meta space of PC, player and character.
Mhm.
So I think we try when we make mysteries and when we run them, or investigations I should say, not to force the player to act stupid and allow them to dive into their own creative lines of thinking and curiosity. Heart of Daggers just asked such a good question. If you're advising experienced homebrew designers, what's one system assumption in Daggerheart you'd challenge them to rethink rather than copy? By the way, Brooke also thought that was a really good question. We were all noticing it.
God, it's such a good
What's a
question.
system assumption?
I mean, I think that uh, following player and GM principles is really important. And so the things that fit inside of the, like, if you take those as your gospel and then make the game based off of that, typically you're going to be better off than if you start making mechanics, but you're not paying attention to player and GM principles.
Hmm.
Um, that doesn't really answer the question, but I do think it's like whenever I start, I'm like, what kind of game are we making? What do I want this to be? Okay, then what can I build using the tools that are here? And I think some of the assumptions, that people come in. I mean, I think people come into Daggerheart with assumptions from other games often, and I think that's like a place that we often see challenges. But I'm trying to think of the reverse of that.
Yeah,
Do you have anything?
I don't know if I'm thinking about the reverse, but certain things come to mind when I think of like folks that I would remind or thought things that I would remind homebrewers, which is I think first and foremost kind of what you said, which is like uh, be in conversation with this game.
Hmm.
That which is true of any game you're homebrewing for. Make sure that you're actually engaging purely with the game that you are working on. And if you're bringing in new tech, that it still speaks to the overall ethos of that game. Um, I think, kind of on a more granular level, I like to remind folks that players can choose any domain card from their available to split. So you need to make sure that higher level domain cards are not assuming they've taken specific lower level domain cards or kind of demanding a certain path like a skill tree. Same thing with subclasses. You don't want to force people into picking specific domain cards and have synergy there only.
I have something
Yeah, yeah,
actually
yeah.
now thinking through it, and it's something that we did. It's coming out of something that we did past core. An example of like we challenged what we thought was the assumption in Daggerheart. And that's
Mm.
transformations. Because there's already a whole set of cards, types of cards that you use in Daggerheart. And I think if you were just operating inside of those types of cards, you might put something like a vampire or a werewolf in the wrong spot.
Hmm.
I think a lot of people would try and fit it into a class or fit it into an ancestry or fit it into a community, maybe even. And I think that the thing that we sort of challenged was like, what do we where do we actually put this? Oh, we have no.
Ooh.
Where do we actually put this? And the answer was there isn't a place to put it yet. Let's make it. Let's figure out what another card that sits outside of ancestry or community or domains subclasses are like, and then figure out why we can give that on top of those other ones without it feeling like it's unbalanced. And so having a positive and a negative was a way of us doing that. But that was a place where we really challenged like what what do we need to make this thing happen? And if it's not in the game, then we might just need to build it.
It's funny. I think even though we released transformations in the expansion, which is something, speaking only for myself, I knew that I wanted to get out there really quickly after we
Hmm.
released core. When folks introduce new types of cards, new categories of cards, so like
Mm.
communities, ancestries, transformations, domain cards, subclass cards, those are all types of cards. I really tend to examine that, like really dig into like is this necessary? And when folks go to giving classes that they design additional sheets or sidecars, I really dig in and say, is this necessary? And sometimes it is, but
Yeah.
it really we really need to run the gauntlet on interrogating that before we just bandy around new types of cards and new paper that goes on the table. Especially because I know folks, the experience is like, I want more, 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 more. But the constraint in the design is often the parts that allow it to breathe the most in
Yeah.
play. I think ancestries, communities, transformations, all those are often tells for me about how people understand the system. So like the long and short is like ancestry is a species ish. We're going to remove nuance for a hot second. Ancestry is species, community is culture. Neither of those are individual characteristics. So if you're like, this ancestry is calm or this ancestry is patient, those are individual characteristics. Those could live really beautifully in experiences. Transformations are something physical that happens to a character or is added to their physical life, but is not limited in the same way. Like ribbits are all frog guys. You can also be a ribbit with vampire teeth, which Brooke loves. Correct. Classes are career day. Subclasses are like specialization within your career. And then domains are
Your skills, what
I
you're
was
good
gonna
at.
say like the juice that makes up the career. That doesn't help.
It's like the skills that it's like the
It's
things
like
that
your
you're.
skills.
Yeah, it's like your skills. By the way, I think that Sean is in the chat.
Danny is also.
Oh, is Danny in the chat too?
Sean, my love.
Right here, where is it? Sean, go up a little more.
Danny is jumping in to be like, that's actually Rowan and Spencer, and I messed it up because I said we're both Spencer.
Yeah, there it is.
Oh, Sean, our beautiful art director, is here.
It's here. So cool. Hi, friend.
The amount of Spencer is quite stark.
What else do we have? Let me look. Okay.
Ooh, I have a fun question. Okay, I'm gonna run really fast. I'm gonna get mad again because the question is, hi, Daggerheart has references to Critical Role characters, such as Dagon and in Def Maneuvers. How many are there? And that's anything 131, and I don't know. So I'm gonna grab Madigan, who will know. You hang out.
I'm gonna hang out.
You're gonna be able to hear me
Someone
while
asked
I
how many
run,
actions can a player make during their spotlight. The whole idea of the spotlight is that you're passing it around, and you as a table are deciding how many things happen. And so we like to think about it like a scene in a movie, right? Like what is important for us to stay on here, and if it's important for us to sit in a moment with somebody for a couple of actions, we do that, or we bounce around.
I got him out again.
Oh yeah, perfect. Otherwise, we can bounce around.
Right there.
We can bounce around and kind of put the focus on whoever or wherever it needs to be for the scene that you're dealing in. And then if you've split the party, then you kind of can jump to the other scene and put the spotlight on them. Anyway, more to come there, but I'm giving this to you.
That sounds really insightful and important, Spencer.
Not important.
Okay, Madigan.
Hi.
Daggerheart has references to Critical Role characters.
It does.
Such as Dagon. Dagon?
Yeah.
Dagon?
Daggone it. Daggone it, Underthorn.
On Def Maneuvers, how many are there in core?
I think there's 6.
Okay.
I think there's 6.
List them off.
List them off. Okay. We've got the Essek Thalis and Caleb Widowgast. I heard Brooke gasp from off screen. Essek Thalis and Caleb Widowgast, pendant and wand, and they have matching time-bending features. We have the Deft Maneuvers card art.
With who on it?
Dagon Underthorn.
Okay, cool.
Dagon it, Underthorn.
Okay.
We've got the homage to Mollymock, the Infernus art. We've got the Pike Trickfoot homage on level 10 Splendor card, Resurrection. And we also have the homage to Bo and Ford in the Lean On Me art for Valor, which is
Which
my
one is your
favorite.
favorite and why is it
Shut up! It's that one. Because Lean On Me is intended to clear stress when you and an ally, you console an ally after they've failed a roll. And that just really screamed Bo and Ford to me specifically. What else? Did I miss one?
No, I think that's it.
Okay.
Your word is law, as far as I'm concerned on that. You're our expert.
We also
I feel
have
like I missed one.
we also have a nod to Ronan
That's right.
as well, but that's not
Ronan.
technically
campaigns.
campaigns.
Yeah.
So
It's cooler.
It's it's real life.
That was one of the best days to be
Yes.
able to show Travis and Laura that art in progress of Ronan and him being a little mischievous imp on the codex card. Which one is it? I remember and there's also references to
Just
Critical
The
Role.
Ronin card.
on
Book of
the-
Ronin.
Oh yeah, you're right, bro. I'm gonna die. But aren't
We'll
there
never
critical?
know which card Ronin is on.
Are there Critical Role references on that card as well?
I
Like he
believe there's some
doodled?
jester
There's
stuff.
some Jester
Yeah,
things.
some little jester doodles.
Well,
Thanks.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
thanks, Madigan.
And the reason why we have no bell tells, that was still when the campaign was going, and so we
Yeah.
were like, we don't want to touch it because stuff might change.
Uh-huh.
So there's not that many bell tells references because that was still ongoing.
love it.
Maybe we should work on that. Thank you.
Thanks, Maddie.
You're the best one.
Yes.
Yes.
A gas.
Okay, I'm gonna leave really
Goodbye.
awkwardly.
I love your
and sneaky.
shoes.
Thank you. I have really cool shoes. That's not my phone.
No, that's my phone. Everybody say I love you, Madigan.
I love you, Madigan.
Somebody asked, I've been struggling with creating social encounters. It seems so straightforward.
Oh.
So I think there's, it depends on what kind of GM you are and how you like to run your games.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think there are more mechanized ways to run social encounters if you want to. Often those include environments. So if you're struggling to if you're desiring structure in your social encounters and you need help, looking at some of those social environments as ways of getting cues in what should happen there,
Yeah.
or as potential consequences. There's potential consequences for what could occur, and that'll give you inspiration. Also, who could appear there, right? That's but if you're not craving more structure and you're
Mhm.
just having a hard time creating what my players should do, I guess, how they should act, I typically try and think about the dramatic question that the players have in that moment of the story, and put something in their way that lets them engage with it,
Mm-hmm.
right?
It's like the same advice as for when folks roll a success with fear. It's like that you're
What's the dramatic
constantly
question?
looking for the dramatic question.
Yeah.
What if the advice is the same answer, which is you should watch She-Ra and guess when the GM is spending fear, or any TV show.
Yeah. But I think understanding, if players walk into a masquerade that they've been invited to and there's no dramatic question on the table for them,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I don't think the scene is as interesting. If they're just there to show up and have fun and do it, that's totally fine. Montage it,
Mm-hmm.
right? Or cut to the exciting part. Cut to the thing that happens. But if there's a reason, the masquerade is being put on by a noble who they need information from,
Mm-hmm.
the dramatic question becomes, can we get what we need from this person? Just making it up. Okay, then what can I as the GM put in that scene to allow them to engage and also challenge them from getting what they want or need? So I'm probably going to put somebody who knows that person, who openly knows that person. So you see, you see the lady, Lady Violet speaking to this noble. They laugh with each other, and then Lady Violet walks across the parapet and down the stairs towards all of you. What do you want to do?
Mhm.
Now we've introduced a dramatic situation where, that could be our way in. And now we're engaging. How do we get on her good side?
Mhm.
So by presenting those scenarios and asking your players to engage, I think the social situations become more engaging and interesting.
So we don't have a ton of time left. Do
Okay.
you want to do speed round?
Sure.
Ish.
Sounds good.
Ish. How many actions can a player make during their spotlight?
We were just talking about that when you
Great.
guys were gone.
Amazing. We did social encounters. Oh, someone asked how long a rune circle should be up since it says the circle is temporary. So such a great question. Temporary effects can be dropped if the GM spends a fear, but also
I'll clarify. Temporary effects can be dropped as a GM move.
when they spend,
Um,
or yes, as
no,
a GM
as a GM
move,
oftentimes
Times
they might
spend
spend
a
a fear
fear.
to make that move.
Or the PC could drop it at will.
Yeah.
And also, 10 out of 10 would recommend GM you don't just immediately drop it in your next
100%.
move. Don't forget to support your players having their cool moment. I think that's why I think of it actually as spending a fear, because when I'm running it, like my next move is not to drop it.
Yeah.
And so very often I spend a fear to tack that onto
A different
a
move down the
different
line.
move
Yeah.
later.
Yeah, totally.
But that was a good catch.
One of the things that I'll do too is like if there's a time where the PCs are just getting beat up, sometimes I will take the turn back to me to just clear a temporary effect and then pass everything back to the players, and that way you get a little bit of that like moment where the vulnerability drops, they break out of the chains. What do you guys want to do, right? That's kind of a way that you can do that to pace it.
Someone asked about the soundtrack that was announced at Gen Con. We can't give you a ton of details on that, but Taylor has been my friend since forever, since like middle school. We love Taylor and Lindsay. There's logistical, like bigger, wider world of music things going on there. So it is delayed and we're very sorry, but we are but we mortals. So that is like tangled.
Yeah, it's figuring out the music hosting and all that kind of stuff.
Yes, but please
It's
know
logistics. It's not any issue.
yes, that we love
yeah.
Taylor and Lindsay eternally, and duology is fantastic. They did Jester's
The Just
song
for
for
wedding.
walking
Yeah.
down the aisle.
So good.
We did investigation scenes. We did spicing up roles with fear.
Success
sort of.
rolls
We kind
with
of touched
fear.
on that.
Yeah, I think about what thing would make the scene more exciting. Like that's always my go-to is like, what can I do here? You succeed, but what could I do to make the tension rise even just a little bit more, even if it's just something simple?
Oh, this is a cool question. What happens to cleared armor slots when you've changed armor? That's from Kiki Becker. I would follow the
Cleared
fiction.
armor slots.
I think what I think they might be talking about,
Yeah.
and I can only interpret, is like if you have armor on and you have a bunch of marked armor slots, and then you like loot someone and you steal their armor.
Yeah.
Do you get like fresh armor with no armor slots marked? What's the deal? I would follow the fiction if I'm GMing, which is like, I think it's perfectly viable if you just kicked a bunch of, let's say, guards' butts in a combat. Your armor is just annihilated. You're going to need to repair it at downtime if you want to loot. But I also think I might give them the guard's armor with some slots marked because they were also just in combat.
Totally. This is a rulings over rules question. And I think that, there's if you also have a shield and that shield has an extra like armor slot, essentially increases your armor score. And you swap that out. You swap out the armor that you have. I think it's fair to rule that like, one of those, if you described your armor being used if you described your shield being used, I would follow that fiction to say the armor slot's been used there. If you didn't, I would say, talk with your table, figure out what feels good with your GM. But ultimately, if you have one slot remaining and you sub out your armor and you say, hey, my shield is fine, but my armor is absolutely wrecked. I'm going to get new armor during, I'm going to go switch armor with somebody that we've taken and maybe they'll have less. And you get, one armor slot that's marked instead of 4 or whatever it is. That's perfectly viable. But ultimately, it's all about following the fiction there and doing what makes sense for the story, and making rulings. I think we cover some of that in the book too. I could be mistaken, but I'm pretty sure we talk about how to clear temporary armor and those kinds of things. So if you have questions, there's probably more.
Also, we have so many friends in chat now. Elise, our senior producer, Danny, our dev coordinator, Sadie, our amazing, brilliant lead editor, Sean, our art director, Madigan was just on the couch with us. Friend of the fam, Todd Kenrick, is chillin'. That's so many lovely humans, but just so you guys all know, it takes a village to make these books and also to keep the TTRPG space thriving.
Yeah. Somebody's saying if you have trouble with social encounters to go play Ace Attorney, and I think that's a great suggestion. And also, I would say if you're having trouble with a specific aspect of the game, go watch stories where that thing happens. I do it all the time. If I'm like, okay, I know I'm running a session next time that's happening in X location. I know a movie
Mhm.
that I've watched that takes place in a location like that. Let me go watch it and pull some stuff from that movie that happens in that place, or is the genre that if we know we're doing a heist next session.
Steal like you mean it.
I'll go watch an Ocean's movie.
That's
I don't know
so
if you could
fair.
hear,
Advice to that one.
but Sam asked, what if I have trouble with social encounters in real life? And to that I say,
Marcus stress.
Marcus stress. And if your stress gets built up, then you got to mark a hit point. And I don't make the rules; I just enforce them. And that's not true. I did make the rules, and also I do enforce them.
Someone asked how we deal with players missing a session and integrating their characters into the story, especially in combat scenarios. That's just one in art. I either am like, you went off on your own little adventure and like describe how they went on a little side quest, or it's not an issue. They were just there the previous session. They weren't while we all got together. And then the next time it's like they never left. Like, we are but kids in a sandbox. If it depends on like what everybody's looking for. Do we need to give them like a cool sick moment where they go off, or like they just weren't there? They didn't mark any armor slots, guys. They're back at the next long rest.
I think there's a question for me, is a discussion at the table that should
Yeah.
happen. That is, are we doing in-world justification, or are we doing out-of-world justification? What I mean by that is, it aligns exactly with what you said. It's like, are we saying they did something in the fiction,
Mhm.
or are we saying the fiction is modified
Yes.
because of an outside thing, and it doesn't, like, we are approaching it from the place of storytellers? Okay, that is going away for a bit, or even they're there and we let them exist in the space technically, but they are not playing an active role in taking the spotlight, right?
Brooke is
Brooke is
imitating that right
T-posing.
now.